And we're back. We have Train coming up. INTZ. I think it's all eyes on INTZ. Luminosity are clearly the stronger team. INTZ are... It's kind of weird in a number of ways, okay? So, Luminosity, they're not the strongest team on the T side of Train. But I feel like INTZ are where Luminosity were 2 years ago? 3?
Ouch.
0-3, that's probably too far. But in terms of the self-imposed issues in terms of timing, it's just the same. We're going around in a circle. They're in a revolving door. They don't know how to find the exit.
So there's a few differences here for me. Number one, having not the best understanding of the theory of Counter-Strike, that can be okay. You know, that's okay. It's difficult.
Oh, amateur hour
I did it.
here.
I'm sorry.
That's difficult. But something like
Production's booing your production. You should see that. You've been yourself.
it's actually true. They should see that. That's actually their job. I mean, everyone
What
knows.
an idiot move.
Everyone
Boo, I
knows
can't believe this. Oh my
that
god.
talent are incapable and they'll mess everything up.
Anyway, carry on.
So that's fixable. It's complicated. But there are things that you can work on, like as I said, there are things that are uninterruptible by the other team. There are uncomplex situations or simple situations such as a CT setup, or as you said, like communication protocols, so that your communication's good at least, so you can set each other up for stuff, or stuff like nailing your utility so it goes where it's supposed to and not missing a multiple 5 times in a row, which did actually happen in that game, or missing smokes and leaving gaps, which was abused pretty severely in that game. Now, these things should not be happening to a team that's taking the game professionally. So those are the things that are inexcusable. The rest is okay and can be built upon. So hopefully those things do get fixed. Either way, Luminosity start off CT side. This is dangerous because they actually have a really good CT side of Train. It's a super legit CT side, and I think INTZ will struggle. If they get a good 5, 6, 7 rounds on this T side of theirs, I'll be really impressed.
Wow. Bolt should probably had a kill right there, but KNG decides to find his way towards the hell area. And one's going to kill. Now it's 2-on-2.
Oh, I saw the pop coming. I didn't expect him to quickly dance past the angle. But here we are. INTZ and Luminosity. I mean, Henry's got to be careful. He's got 2 bullets in his pistol. Okay, that is a big upgrade. Just constant running around. Oh, the spam! He's doing pretty good. Oh! He's got his knife out. What is going on?
He's ran out of bullets too, I guess. I don't know.
Did he pick up a CT pistol?
Yeah, that's weird because
He had a USP and ran out of bullets.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
That sucks. Actually, I do find people fiend for the USP pretty hard. And sometimes in spots which are really bad to do it. The Glock's actually really good. The Glock's actually really, really good. And if you get to that close medium range, honestly, it's pretty interchangeable. And it's more important to play the spot than it is to try to go out of position for 5 seconds.
Glock is too good, Dan.
It is actually so good.
It needs nerf.
It is so... honestly, if it got nerfed, I wouldn't be mad.
I wouldn't be mad either.
Ooh, the spray. Steel knows there's more players behind that, so he goes for the full auto, and it works out pretty well. And... well, let's talk about smokes and stuff earlier, and Molotovs. That did apply to Luminosity too. They missed a lot of stuff too. So... I'm not just singling out. And I think that their Train is a much better map for them. So I think this will be a pretty strong CT side we're going to witness. I'll be curious how INTZ will try to break it open. We talked about a lot of Train theory the other day. It might be yesterday. Well, that would make sense. It was yesterday. Wait, today's the first day.
I'm thinking Ivy.
Last week, I'm getting so confused.
I think INTZ would be the type of team that works Ivy a lot, like with AWP or just slow roll it, kind of just be annoying over there.
Right, and that's really cool, right? Because Train's a map where you can run your defaults in different ways. So as you say, if you prioritize players around Ivy, what happens is the CTs have to adapt and they have to start respecting it and start pulling players and have players a little less forward. Or if they're going to play forward positions, you take either pop dog or you take either T main, and then everyone else kind of plays back to respect the amount of numbers that can come out of Ivy, which can then later be abused by fast, explosive plays in the forward choke points.
Well, that's an oldie box smoke. Get with the times, Yao.
Go the times. All right, so so that's not the same lineup that we saw from
Was it
Vanguard. Vanguard have really sick nades on this map. They've got really sick pop dog nades. There we go, nice shot from Cello. Good entry onto Lucas. Ooh, the spray from Bolts. He's in a very awkward angle, and with no one coming down the ramp to punish him. That was comfortable for Bolts. And now it's a really desperate spot. You've got a 2v4. You do have a minute, though, and you have the bomb. I think trying to reset this situation can be pretty useful here. 4 players alive for the CTs. That having that 1 kill does actually make a pretty big difference. And there is a pretty big possibility you can get some value out of T-main or pop and so on and so forth. But Kianji will actually take down Bolts, who went a bit aggressive looking for the info. Now it gets kind of interesting. The Steel goes aggressive as well. Takes the risk, gets the reward. Spots the next player, and there's the information, but he goes down. But they know what the bomb is, Luminosity. So they know what Yale has to do with the time that he has.
23 seconds for Yell. Nice movement. Where's he off to?
He's trying to fake it. But there's a
He
player
hasn't got
already here.
time.
Yeah.
15 seconds. Oh, Nekez, beautiful play from him. And it's too late.
that would have been amazing. If that would have worked, I would have been on the floor. That would have been so amazing.
And so talking a little bit about maybe INTZ plugging it or not having a direction, you saw, you said Bolts was in an awkward spot, right? So what happened was there is INTZ, one guy fell off, and the second guy, like they weren't on the same page because the reaction was way too slow for him. Because if he knew his teammate was going to be falling off, maybe he'd peek with him as he's falling off and try to exchange the kill, or fall off with him, or at least just, I guess, be in a spot where they're exchanged quick.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the kind of. Again, if you're running like Counter-Strike School and you're on the T side, one of the first lessons of the day might be, T side 101, spacing. That might be the first thing that you talk about, because any movement that you do, any strategy that's happening when you're moving into position with your teammates, if there's more than one of you, good spacing is required. Unless someone needs to be held further back to throw a pop flash or something of that nature.
A design part of the strat, you
Yeah.
know, not just pugging around and I see my teammate right over there. Let me just not follow him. Let me just sit back and not do anything. Oh, so he's dead. You guys are professionals.
Destiny and Cello. 1 and 4 between the two. 1 to the Kevlar between the two. Now it's just a 1. 34 HP. Damage is important. 2 players taken out is something for them to... It's good. That's like $12,000 taken away for Luminosity. So in the long run, that will mean something. INTZ will be on the buy in this round. KNG with the AWP. Train is one of those maps where I'm sad that Yell is not the primary sniper. Because, which isn't to say anything about the other snipers on the team. I'm just a fan of Yell. I like seeing him AWP. I think the style of AWP that he is and the kind of peaks he takes and so on is very fitting for these teams, but he's always the second guy and never the first. Sort of lucky escape for whoever that is. Cello, I think, maybe?
Yeah.
Cello or Yell, whoever it was.
Cello, yeah.
Very lucky escape.
Mr. Cello.
Yell's got the King Snake gloves. I like the ones I have, but KNG as well. These are pretty nice, but none of my stuff goes with it. Can get the Asimov gear, would look nice.
Anything looks good in white. What are you talking
not
about?
cheap. Nah. I've got the blood red theme going on.
Oh,
I forgot what my gloves are called, but
Crimson Blood.
Crimson Weave. There we go.
I guessed.
Red and green goes nice. Christmas time.
So INTZ they have huge presence, but they're now just going for a late play down the ramp. Actually, not that late. It's a decent amount of timing to move into a bomb site, and they're going to get the plant straight away. Luminosity perhaps respecting INTZ a little bit too much in this round. They had no one with any info, and part of the problem was that they had nobody playing pop or T main, and that's something that gives you a lot of it gives you a big tell as to what's going on. And you know that's actually one of the reasons why having a player pop is also really cool, because when the players are trying to defend B and you have that setup. Who was it we're seeing earlier today? It was we're watching Rops from Mouse Sports playing Train, the way that he would play inside. He would play this style where he would be able to delay really well. And if you have some of these forward positions, or that info at least, it does allow you to, as a CTs, coordinate a lot better on your retake.
They can't get the gun.
Oh, that's very sad.
The thing is, if they waited for the explosion, they might have been able to rescue it, but they shot it further into the corner.
Amateur
So
That's a shame. So it'd be cool to see an adjustment for Luminosity here, playing a bit more aggressively in the yard, and trying to take Pop Dog, trying to take T main control potentially, or having someone around E-box. Could be quite cool to see, at least at the early stages of the rounds. And then depending on what's going on, you can always play two players in the middle parts of the B-bomb site, depending on the information or the reads that you get. So good peek from Kianji. Always like to see that run boost. Pretty strong. And you're right, Eric, because we have seen a lot of Ivy pressure around TZ. I think Luminosity likes to do it as well, actually. Which is interesting. There are teams that just don't like doing it, and they throw it in very rarely, just because you've got to throw it in every so often.
I think I just remember seeing King Vito always Ivy. Just see him Ivy every time.
1 minute on the clock. INTZ. Big fans of the shift key. So here we go.
No.
Oh, never mind. I was going to say, those are grenades I want people at home to pay attention to and learn, because people should be doing those when they're playing Train themselves, to either attract attention towards Ivy or deny information, or a combination of the two.
Oh, the gap.
There is a big gap, and Destiny wonders where 44 HP has gone of his life. There's a breathable transfer from Steel. He's really doing well with the Org in this matchup.
There was a gap in the other smoke as well there. That was pretty useful for Steel. And Yell trying to pressure the bomb train. It will move forwards. 10 seconds to plant. He just basically has to try to stick the plant. There's no time to fight even. And the round's over. Smoke to try to escape. Just barely makes it out of dodge in time. And that's another round where, like Inferno, they move too slowly.
I got stats for you, Dan.
With gaps and smokes.
40% of the rounds Luminosity have won so far have been by timeout.
No.
40%.
That's a lot.
That's not a thing, really. That can't be possible.
It is.
Oh, right, in this game. Okay, I thought you meant like in the whole series. Because I was...
No, just in this game. 40% have been won by timeout
Okay,
so far.
thank God.
Big statistics.
Thank God.
Skewed statistics in 6 rounds.
Yeah, you really made me think that it was... Anyway.
INTZ forcing their way into the A bomb site. They're changing the pace. Not going well so far. Well, they have position. They've lost one player, but that can quickly turn around with a headshot here or there. Lucas taken out towards the Ivy position. We've got a player back train, but Nekez moving through with the MP9, jumping around the corner. Look at the variance. It's favoring INTZ just about for the time being, but they're lining up for bolts. There's one. Pre-fire towards Hell. Almost. Almost. Now, where is Steel? Here he is with bad range of the UMP. Lots of utility, but it's about the guns, about the bullets. Bolts running distraction, and there's Steel from the back. Gets himself an upgrade. 6-1 Luminosity.
I mean, that was a good round. I mean, you know, as you say, like, if if you're getting position on the T side, it's really valuable. It's so valuable that it can be worth losing 1 or 2 players sometimes. Depending, like, you could lose 2 players, you're hoping that you get good timing as well in beating out the CT rotation. But you know, it just turned around right at the end. But they had a 2v2 on the outside bomb side after all the chaos. That's actually not a bad spot to be in. That's the best spot they've been in so far, actually, I think. It's fair to say. So here's a mix-up from Luminosity. They're going to play 2 around Pop Dog. I got Neckers close and Lucas sort of looking into T main, sort of behind him, around E-Box and Connector. And a 2-man setup here in B. This is actually quite unconventional. Let's see what pans out for them. Steel goes down immediately. Now, going in straight away is not a bad spot right now for them. I think that it seems like they're waiting for a Yell to do something.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god, what on earth is that? Yell's got an 8. Well, there you go, James. Never mind. But they still haven't moved into B. Oh no. They had so much time to move into B. They're still going to be fine. But I feel like you need to move into B a bit sooner than that. I wonder if it's because they got smoked. They just wanted to wait the smoke out. It's hard to say.
All the bomb will get planted. Nekis doesn't see KNG on the ladder, and now it's just Nekis sound cue, and done. Second round on the board for INTZ. They survive with 4 players. No AWP collected for Yell. They will be content with the 1 AWP. Through the smoke, wild plays.
I wonder why. Maybe he's just so bored that he's just spamming smoke like that. Just that's a real INTZ game plan: is make the other team fall asleep, do something stupid by playing so slow. Because that's what Henny was doing. He was doing something stupid, and he got caught because of it.
Nekis is going to be having a good push here. Ooh, got to make those ones count, and he'll fall back behind the smoke, unable to survive the spam through the smoke, and he is a dab hand with a scout. Let's see if he can find something here. Will be smoked off, responsible from INTZ. And they're looking like they're well suited to pick up this round. Jump and shoot him, please. Oh.
Almost.
You can do it still, like you can still do it, but you have to time it really well. Like at what's like the apex of the jump, there's like a small window. I can't believe he didn't attempt it. He's crazy. And he loves crazy stuff. Why is he not giving me anything crazy? You gotta give it to me, man. Oh well, it's okay. It's okay. It's very unlikely for them to be able to do anything, even if he got a frag there. So the save will be there for Bolts and Steel, and they'll keep the Kevlars and the UMP and the Deagle. 90 on the board. And I feel like, they've accomplished this largely through playing a bit more aggressively. I think it's been very beneficial. One of the things about playing too slow that can happen too is that it can hinder your ability to trade kills, and it makes it more likely that the CTs might get untradeable frags, which means that you're having, even if you are losing rounds, you're not impacting the opponent's economy. So when you eventually do win a round, you didn't have enough economy damage to really be in arm's reach of breaking their money. And that's like another reason why faster rounds where you can ensure fast trades can be really beneficial, because even if you don't win rounds, you really hurt the economy of the CT side. So it's another thing to think about with throwing in those fast rounds. And Luminosity with the timeout. So Eric is happy.
There we go. I like seeing timeouts. Yeah, but you have them, use them. Why not?
It's a food delivery.
You never know. Maybe you have to go to the bathroom, maybe you got to talk something, maybe you have to get your DoorDash.
All right, the money's broken for Luminosity on the CT side. They've got room to recover with 6 rounds on the board. But the pressure's going to be very, very high when they do get back on the buy, because INTZ already have a good $5,000 almost average. They're in a very good position at the moment, as long as they don't make catastrophic errors and lose loads of players in this round. They have nobody watching B, or maybe Cello is actually. No, he's through Pop Doc. He's on the A side. So no one's watching Pop. No one's watching the flank. The ladder, actually. We are in North America. No one's watching the ladder. And Bolts will head towards A. Okay, now Cello is watching the ladder, but the flank is coming in elsewhere. But with 2 of the players, only with USPs, there may be nobody left when he gets there. Somehow, Zand gets taken out by a USP. That's difficult when you're engaging a pistol. When you have very little room to maneuver, you're likely to get headshot, which is why the Deagles can be very strong on train specifically. INTZ still moving slowly. The timing is ridiculous from KNG to turn around at exactly the right moment. And almost again! What the hell?
What? That's wild.
Good round from INTZ, getting that outside control. And they're going to get a 4th round. And again, for me, good T side, that's their winning condition. We saw sort of how on Inferno, how it kind of turned out when Luminosity got into the T side. They genuinely had a much stronger T side than INTZ did, and they sort of ran over them. And I would expect it to be a similar story here, unless INTZ can indeed, as they say, get that good T side, which they're on the way to doing at this point. And they got a 4-6 lead. 4-6 is, well, they're trailing by 2, but the economy is not great for Luminosity. They're going to go for the full buy here, but they don't have amazing money, so they will be lacking nades. Sometimes in spots like this, we actually don't see a kit if the communication is not correct, but it looks like Steel will get a kit. But still, that's just one kit. If it's out of position when it counts, that's a problem. No AWP. So this is a round where INTZ has some advantages they could abuse. Quick flash outside for Zan to get... Oh, he's going towards E-Box. Ooh, that's... Oh, no. It compounds, it gets worse. I like that push. I think that's a good push. It was a pretty heads-up duel for Zand. I think that he wins that a lot of the time. And Boltso will punish them. They have to split their attention, and Bolt survives on 1 HP. But not for too much longer, as Cello will deal the damage to finish him off. And playing on the side of the smoke, Lucas adjusts and will take the round 7-4, and their economy will be slightly better.
I would have think that, I mean, it was wild that INTZ did not toss any smokes outside or anything. They just pretty much dry peaked outside with 2 people.
So yeah, this is another thing. Like we talked about the IV pressure and what that can do to condition the CTs and how they move their CD setups around. Another thing is if you throw the sandwich smoke and like knee box smoke or something, you throw those like a lot of rounds. Sometimes you can push out really fast behind them, sometimes you don't. But the CTs have to react to that. They have to dump utility, they have to play more aggressively, and then maybe that's when you start going more Ivy, or maybe that's when you hit B quickly, or try to fake B and then go down Pop Dog. Or like a late retake after a slow default of T-Main and Pop Dog. You know, there's so many options that happen when you create actions on the server that are somewhat consistent. Like the greatest example is the nuke smokes outside. If you want to throw those pretty much every round, the timings will differ, but you want to throw those almost every single round. And that allows you to play off of expectation that's been built. Now you're playing chess with the other team, as far as the calling is concerned, as opposed to sort of a lot of randomness, which is hard to pinpoint as to like what they're thinking. Because once you start doing stuff repeatedly, that's in their head now, and you've built expectation, and now you can play around that. So that's why I like your comment about the smokes there, because you can be throwing those a lot of the time. If you're playing the default style.
You don't have to act on it, as you said. You could condition, throw some smokes. We're throwing smokes. Up 1 round, we snuck someone out, and they get 2 kills. You know, stuff like that. It can go a long way.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be like nuke rate. It is every round, but if you show it that maybe this is the default. We throw these smokes. So as you say, sometimes you sneak someone out. Sometimes you don't sneak anybody out, but you just play that slow default around it. You call into question. Sometimes you can burst really fast with your entire team. If that's what you feel like might be the best way to play it. It gives you a lot to work with. I think it's understated sometimes.
All that for nothing. Cello loses his weapon. And he's got, well, his money's together with his team. So there's that.
Yeesh.
INTZ, what's happened? They had advantages. They were building their money. They had 5k each. Well, 3 had 5k. The other 2 just over 4 when Luminosity were on eco, and all of a sudden here we are, 8-4 for Luminosity, and INTZ are on eco, and another timeout victory for Luminosity. Their third one this half.
It kind of shows that INTZ are kind of struggling to find that consistency in getting the open, so the early to mid-round advantages. And that's actually one of the reasons why defaults exist as a concept, is it's a stable base to work those advantages in a multitude of ways. It gives you the most options to do so. And you don't have to play the game like that, but it can be very, very helpful in giving you a structure, something to work off of. And they started just going for some B rushes, and it feels like they're back at square one.
Oh.
That is fantastic. Great shot. Long distance deagle in the head. Satisfying for sure. The Bolts is on the case, laying down the fire, and preventing the T's from getting close to the connector position. That's where things get dangerous. They mostly have things under control for the time being with the flames, all the nades. They've got through the choke points without any problem. Now they're kind of moving together as a line, closing down on that bomb. And there it is, finishing off all the rest of INTZ.
Another round in the bag. 9-4 for Luminosity. They had a solid score in the first game, and they may be headed in that direction. Of course, the T side is going to be the harder side for INTZ, and the harder side is almost over. AWP and 4 rifles for both sides, but there are 2 AK-47s for Luminosity, which is great for them. On the likes of Steel and Lucas. Lucas has been really sharp today, as has Steel. He's been quite deadly with the AUG, and now he's got himself an AK-47. Smoke towards the sandwich position from KNG, and he posts up with the AWP. 3 smokes down in the A-bomb site and 1 towards the top of B. Luminosity with a 2-man focus towards Ivy, and they've thrown some deep grenades there, which may suggest some kind of push, and that may make INTZ go slow while they're trying to figure out what is going on over there. As you can see on the radar, they're quite far away. Taking damage in A main as Hen1 continues to spam. He knows someone's in there somewhere. I thought that one was going to hit the mark. That flashbang's almost perfect timing. Neck is taking Destiny out, spots another one towards the main position. Suddenly things start to speed up. A headshot, but no kill. And then he looks to finish off these players. More spam, 1 more bullet. Time to reload. He spots an elbow. He's being teased. He wants it. Goes for the foot, doesn't reach it. Surely the reload can be heard. We have a flank coming in from Steel now. And maybe Henny's spam will keep them in situ. 50 seconds is far too much time for INTZ to consider a push. So Steel, his flank could really be on it. Just now squeezing through the choke point onto A.
And the slow maneuvering has really benefited Steel as he does get that kill, and he finds the bomber no less around Olof, drops that. That is a huge problem for Yell and Cello going forwards. Now just Yell as he's in the back lines by Old Bomb. And this is awkward now because time is a problem. There's 2 players who have full HP. And is this going to be a timeout when we decide to save? Because I don't know that he can really do much. He does find 1 frag, but at this point, Steel's won the round just by hiding. So timeout it will be.
Number 4.
How's that for your statistics, James?
It's still 40%. Because it's 10 rounds, 4 rounds,
yeah.
10, 40%.
Yeah.
That's consistent.
That's
excellent.
Oh man. So we saw the sandwich knee box smoke there, and we actually saw what happened as a response. What happened was Luminosity, they started dumping utility. They pushed a player into Olof. They pushed a player to E-box. These are pretty tight choke points which can be abused. You can try to trade the plays that they're making, or you can try to re-execute later on and void those positions and retake them later on in the round. There's stuff that you can do because the CTs, and you're forcing them to do stuff now. You're forcing them to use utility to maneuver their players. Now these are things that you can be exploited. However, if you don't do any of this stuff, then nothing happens. And that makes life really difficult. And you let the CTs just sit in their setups. Ooh, the timing! Timing of the nades, not ideal. Damage has been done though. Oh, this is Rops used to love using this spot. I remember him doing some devious maneuvers from here. It's such a ridiculous spot sometimes because you can see it's complete. Oh, it's given up now. Oh no! Oh my God! You hate to see it. You hate to see it. Everybody's getting wrecked. That's so unfortunate. Luminosity had all the advantages, but they have been taken down pretty badly. That is so sick, because Steel could have just won the round by himself. Oh, man.
Well, that's quite something. A much-needed 5th round for INTZ unless something crazy happens, and it won't! 5 rounds for INTZ at half-time. Luminosity double figures. Have they done enough on their CT side? We will find out in just a few short minutes. Team Liquid won their first map just recently, so
Nice.
I do believe that they are still in the running. Now let's see what these two teams can do. Creeping. In the pistol round number 2, second half pistol round, Luminosity looking to capitalize on their advantages. Bolts has a P250, and there are plenty of flashbangs for the squad. P250 is by that main position. Lucas makes his way into the A bomb site. The bomb is trailing behind. I'll see what the climate is. Perhaps it's a great headshot from Nekez. Smoke through connector to try and make some space. Lovely pop flash. Nekez completely blind. There's no idea where to look. And down he goes. Bolts and Steel remain. Bolts with a nice one tap onto Destiny with that P250. And everything slows down. 2 versus 2. I don't know if Steel's... He hasn't fired a bullet yet. So there is a free kill for him. Very big position. But a bomb is on the floor. Bolts and Zand, and Bolts win the duel, and that is a huge pistol round for Luminosity, putting them on 11 rounds.
That was such a good patient play by Steel. I mean, it's a 2-on-2 situation. You feel like you have to do something, but instead he waits. He waits, and then KNG just walks right by him and bapa. Blammo.
Out they go. There is no force buy from INTZ. They will have discipline. Just the 1 HE from Zand. Does it go towards main, perhaps? It does. No one's there. Got to be expectant of that. Is anybody watching the ladder? There are 3 CTs in the ladder. This is very unusual. With, for the most part, USPs. There is a P250 on Destiny. Ooh, just the one kill. He gets his bell rung, and that might be a problem. Where's the communications and kills Nekiz for free? That shouldn't have been a thing. Now he can reposition with that MAC-10. The bomb is still in control of Luminosity, however.
And it's not a Vega Squadron MAC-10, so there's nothing to fear. The Vega Squadron MAC-10s, those are something special. That's a nice knife. You missed it, James.
The flicky one. It's like a French knife.
Like a pointy.
Like a French picnic knife.
Feels like you're gonna
or a TF2 spy knife.
He's gonna point you to death.
FYI, I am a
that's
spy.
how I describe it. Right, so we have another round going the way of Luminosity very shortly, as soon as they collect the bomb. There can't be a world where Zan wins this round. I would love to see it because of how I can't think of how it'd be possible. So that's why I would like to see it. Not because I like to see disaster, but just because I'm curious.
It's a disaster!
Okay, if that was a Vega Squadron MAC-10, 2 people would be dead. And I'm not talking about him. Either way, it's 2 rounds there for Luminosity on the start of this second half here. What could be a final map unless INTZ step it up. And I feel like we're seeing a more underwhelming INTZ than normal. I feel like they've shown us better games or like a better skill. So, you know, maybe there is, you know, something going on. James, like you mentioned, maybe they hate each other. That's what you said earlier. That was me doing your voice. And maybe that's the thing.
I couldn't tell the difference for a second. I thought James said something.
Yeah, I didn't even try. I should try it a bit harder too. Okay, still going to dive down towards Hell, which is a brilliant push to make. Nice spray from Zan. He catches the bomb. So they they immediately understand that it was sort of a fake. They're getting Zan deep on Hell, just applying pressure. But that's a good opener. I like that opener from Luminosity a lot. That's a bit crazy. But yeah, I think that's a cool opener. You know, you rush a guy down to Hell, lots of pressure. However, I think part of the problem was that they showed the bomb. They had the bomb in a position where it could get shown, because there's a world where it's not that there's 2 kills for Zand, but a spot where he sees the bomb there. And that kind of tells you everything you need to know. So that's the reason why, that's the only thing I could nitpick in that spot. But otherwise, I think the opening's cool. Do you like it, Eric? Are you a fan?
Yeah, it's always very powerful taking over the brown halls if you can, and it eventually sometimes makes the CTs play 2 inside, which will open up the outside, and you can work Ivy or blade middle or whatnot.
I like these flashes, the Molotov towards Hell. We're seeing this more and more these days. Gotta get your gun out! And the PT-50 does come out, but it's too late, too little too late. No frags to be had as Zikas goes for the engagement, and still now left by E-Box alone. It would have actually almost been cool to see. I don't know if that would have been possible, but after missing the attempt at frag, he actually had to commit to trying to frag it. You can't really fall back, and you can't hold position unless you have a smoke. But it's really cool sometimes when you get these deep positions and you create a way for the CTs to not really be able to deal with you. Like, they can't kill you. You're not going to push them, but they're worried about you pushing them. Yeah, and you're just there. That's really powerful sometimes.
Yeah, Hell is one of those spots on this map that is really a powerful spot as a T, where CTs have to respect you. They have to look towards you every once in a while. You're kind of exposed from Ivy, and so you're kind of always like looking here and there. We're playing super defensive.
Indeed. It is really annoying. That's something that's always good to pay attention to in Counter-Strike when you're playing CS. What is very annoying, because if you're not, you need to assimilate the things that are super annoying, and that's not a bad HE. Ooh, some follow-up bullets there.
Executed in 20 seconds.
Oh,
my annoyance.
There we go. And we're about to be 8-12 for INTZ.
And pretty much 2 flawless rounds from INTZ, not losing really many people at all, and this is skyrocketed their bankroll. Everyone's an average of at least $7,000 to $8,000 on the CT side already, and that's a huge plus for INTZ.
It's juicy.
Yeah, that's what
but it's like 1 buy, 1.3 buys, 1.2 buys.
Are you including the round 1 or loss money as well?
No. All right then, Nekiz makes his way out. He's completely blind, makes his way back in again. of Molotov to be avoided. Cello with a brazen peak, but will it pay off? Will it be rewarded? Ooh, Bolts lining up some grenades, a flashbang. That is an interesting use of a Molotov. I want to see some of Vanguard grenades.
Yeah.
Let's see some of Vanguard grenades. There's video coming soon, TM. It's a busy week, so maybe it will take a while because there are lots of rounds to review. There's little clips to cut. But they are very effective with their HE grenades and the like, the Molotovs as well, in that ladder room. Bolts fishing, poking, prodding. 1 minute on the clock for Luminosity. There's a smoke down in the middle of Ivy. Will we see... Okay, there are no Molotovs at this point for Luminosity, so we won't see the grenades that I'm looking for. And one communicating with sign language for his teammate. So what is the play? 4 smoke grenades for Luminosity. Surely it's an execute attempt into the A-bomb site.
But they have no flash. They have 1 flash for the entire outside, so I can't see this working too well unless INTZ misses a whole bunch of shots. You need to follow up with some flashes if you're going to do this kind of smoke execute outside.
The sneak by E-Box is always a strong spot, especially with the Orc. I like it. He goes back behind E-Box again after the first cut. That's a smart way to do it. Try to maintain the advantages, maintain the position as long as possible. Frags not to go their way, but Cello's not ever been removed from Pop, and or Ladder, I should say. And you can see how dangerous that is. Executes the bomb carrier, leaving Bolts in a 1 versus 3. And this is one of the reasons why Pop Dog can be devastating. Oh, there you go, James. Round by timeout.
Yeah, it's the tables have turned. It's their turn now. Their turn for the timeout loss. All right, Luminosity, it seems, will have some struggles on their T side as well. Does this mean that INTZ are favored for this map?
Honestly, maybe.
I mean, this is INTZ's map, and they actually do kind of well for the most part. Just today.
The CT is so much easier to play on this map than T side. Unless you're playing like a super elite team, CT is way easier to play because the basics are very simple. Basics are super simple.
Choke points are really tight.
Choke points are tight. If the T's take a position and you know about it, or someone dies, you adjust your setup in predefined ways, which are still strong, and it doesn't matter if the T's know that you're doing it per se. So, as you say, if you maintain the numbers on the CT side, it's really easy to play those spots. So, it will be interesting to see if Luminosity can defeat INTZ. I've seen many teams that can play a very good CT side and a very bad CT side on train. So, I'm curious how this will go.
Default plan is coming through for Luminosity. They've got a hero AK onto Bolts, and he's dead. And so is Hen 1, but they've got the plant, and now it's a question of damage. Cello's been taken out. Can they do any more? Steel and Lucas doing some damage, but that's about it for him. Steel's found the AK-47, and maybe he'll just slink away with it. Bolts has got $300, so that would make sense. He can throw it over to Bolts, and then everything should be good.
Just sneaking away.
He has perfect... Oh, 1 damage of... on his Kevlar, which is really annoying. So no helmet for him unless he wants to spend $1,000.
Is it worth it to you, Steel? Is
$1,000
worth it?
Some people have an issue with that. I like it. It's annoying, but it's a thing, and I like it. I have no further explanation.
Hey, whatever you like.
I'm content with it that way.
You're the one who's playing your character, not anyone else.
142. KNG's turn to spam, just like Hen 1 did in the first half. Luminosity look to smoke execute into the A-bomb site. This time they've got more flashbangs than 1.
This is where they could kind of crack open the game. A lot of it's gonna be down to Destiny and Yell towards Ivy and Bomb, and then actually, okay, Charlie came out of Pop Dog. Okay, he got smoked and Molotov. I really like that they're getting rid of a Pop Dog player. That's super important, or ladder, sorry. And Charlie's going to play E-Box now. How much value does he get from this position? It's a strong position regardless. And he picks up 1. And 1 for 1 is actually okay. Kind of slowed the T's down before they move closer to the bomb train. Cut down their numbers. Additional chances, but not found here for INTZ. In fact, Luminosity doing what they have to. And they really needed to be the round where they really break open INTZ, because not only is their money out of control, but the momentum is out of control. And I think Luminosity is one of those teams where there's like that negative momentum, if that makes sense, where that can affect them a lot. And we'll see now that they're going to be in good stead moving forward. They're going to feel confident about that play too, because that was pretty solid.
My only, I guess, nitpicky thing about the strat that Luminosity did was it was really risky E-box. Like, they had no smoke, no Molotovs towards the E-box. Bolts was smoked out ladder room. And so Luminosity's a little lucky that the E-box guy didn't get multiple kills as they're coming out middle. And if you're doing a set piece outside, like a whole bunch of wall of smokes, flashes, learn the Molotov that goes in E-box. It's really easy to do, and you can throw it as you're, like, right after you toss your smoke on the outside. So
Right. Where do you toss it from? Do you toss it from the dumpster?
yeah, you can toss it from top of the dumpster. It'll land on the side of red, and it spills over to E-box. So that's the idea. I think
that's actually pretty sick. Yeah.
so. I think a lot of professionals that we've seen, they line up. You know that red circle.
Yeah.
So they line up there, and then they aim on top of the right smokestack.
Okay.
And I believe that's the one that they do for E-box 1. There's other ways to line up, but that's one I've seen professionals use.
I like it. All right, well, we're back into this one. The freeze time is diminishing, and soon we will be seeing how this story continues to unfold between these two Brazilian lineups. Double ups here for INTZ. They're bringing out the big guns now, and AWP comes out for Henny. So we haven't really seen, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, all these ups at once.
Yeah, it's the first time we've seen double up, I believe, on the CT side.
His strong man. Yell's the man. I mean, they're all men, but especially him. He saw a touch of the waist. The Molotov to control space. So will it just be holding angles? They all know they're all AWPing. Will we see... They almost... Was it Luminosity who teased the smoke and molly up Ivy and then didn't do it earlier on? It was one of the two teams, but I can't remember what half it was on.
I can't remember either, actually, but I do recall.
But I would like to see that. I don't know, at least on camera we haven't seen that in a single round so far this game that I've noticed or remember. So I would like to see that. I don't want to see like an over focus.
That was INTZ that did that.
Okay, well, I'd like to see that from Luminosity. It's standard stuff and can be part of an important execute. If you, I think on a match in Europe we saw that, and then a smoke from Pop Dog or Ladder Room towards the IV position from Mouse Sports actually. But haven't quite seen that here. We've just got straight up smoke executes and then running through the choke points with smoke to cover. Destiny's got an angle around this smoke. Nekez will try to spray, but they're the ones tied to the choke point lining up for him. Not the best idea. So we haven't really seen a take of any choke point before an execute. We haven't seen him try to pull the CTs out of position in any way. Just smokes, flashes, into A, get wrecked. Still has to save.
It's one of those things where it's kind of a gamble. You're like hoping that the CTs are at a position to throw good smokes as a counter to the push, and that wasn't the case. They were in position. They could throw like a smoke, as we saw, in a really awkward spot on T-Con, which basically crippled Luminosity. They couldn't see anything going out of the choke point. They were completely shut down. Look at this smoke here.
That was talked by Destiny, I believe. That's definitely talked by the CTs, and as you see, it's kind of obvious, hey, there's smoke, there's probably a person there. And again, the E-box position chose to be a problem for that execute. There's nothing E-box. The chain flashing was actually non-existent as they're coming outside. Yes, they probably toss a couple flashes at the start of the strat, but there's no one sitting in the back throwing flashes as they're exiting out the T middle, which you know, is very important because it only maybe half blinds the T's and it fully blinds the CT, so it's very powerful to do it.
If the first or second guy going in on the T side dies, the push is over anyway. The round is basically over in a rush like that. those guys have to gain position and then secure the position, and the flashes help them gain and secure the position safely or reliably. And also, you're playing around with no pressure, and so the CTs will have full utility when you execute in as well. So that's another one of those issues with that approach. But they're going for a push onto the B-bomb site now with the smoke. So basically the same thing, but on B. There's 2 players here, and they will easily get out of connector, INTZ.
It's straight up Jules, not even a flash bounce off the door up top, even though there's a guy there. There's a smoke to allow him to move up, but it's just long Jules. And Jules are being won by INTZ. Nick stands alone, and it's not going to work out for him. 1 round. I'm ignoring the pistol, and the round after doesn't count. 1 round for Luminosity in this half. They can do better. They can do better than this.
So this shows the same issues that Luminosity have on the T side of Inferno, and this goes exactly the same for INTZ as well. Both teams struggle with the basic theory on how to play T side, and it's just, I'm just calling what I see, and it's a huge problem. And I think desperation's hit that Luminosity now, which is why I said earlier that 1 round that they got with the outside play, I was like, that's important because it's at a timing where they need some confidence in their ability to win duels. And because that's what happens on train. Like, if you keep getting shut down at choke points, you don't actually get into spots where you can actually fight favorably, like not even favorably, but like 50-50. So it kind of feels like you're getting that, like, it kind of feels like you suck. You know, kind of, because you're not getting kills, you're just dying, you're not having impact. So getting you into spots like with those fast plays, it feels good. And that's actually an important component. The emotional component is important in Counter-Strike, although it is hard to quantify.
Now this is a little rare. 4 Ivy.
Yeah, oh, Yell's gone so deep as well. It's actually a really awesome play from Yell. And he's got the rifle support to make it work. Oh, they've been crushed by Destiny, and yeah, what a beautiful setup. And 4 players Ivy. Yeah, it's been shut down.
I have never seen that.
Look at the money, it's outrageous for INTZ. They're having a great time.
How is there not a faster trade? It's like they're not in position to trade.
There's 3 people pulling out grenades at the same time.
It takes 1 person to throw those grenades. And there are 3 other people there. No one can trade the kill of an AWP who's stuck in Ivy. It's unprecedented.
It's actually an interesting point you made, James, as well, because it's rare that it's also super rare you see 4 players there, because the job of 4 players can be done by 2, or potentially at most 3. And those extra players can be served much better at providing pressure from a split. In some variety. That's why I think that's why we rarely see a setup like that from the Ts. So I'm not sure what they were going for with holding all the nades. Either way, it was a great setup from Yell and Destiny. They performed very well with that, and they shut down the rounds. And INTZ are looking like they're going to win this map right now. Luminosity are looking more lost than INTZ did on the T side.
The smoke down there.
That's the second one they tossed of this round. That same smoke. That's so weird.
It's so bizarre, like, the amount of Counter-Strike we see, and the amount of stuff that's, like, missing in this match that we saw from, say, a Vanguard.
Oh my god, yeah. Vanguard is such a sick team.
But, like, where is a man outside the game watching the demos? Just...
Well, I think again, it's as you say, that is a huge problem, and it doesn't seem to be anybody with the kind of oversight for the team that actually understands like the theory of the game really well. Because I have seen these problems for both of these teams for a long time now, and it is always those T sides. Counter-Strike can be really misleading in that way, where we talk about T sides a lot because T sides are really complex to do. Now, the interesting thing is that there are some basics on the T sides that work super well. And for example, Cloud9 at the Boston Major, I think for me, they showed how strong great fundamentals can be if you just have skilled players with good communication and good basics. But some teams like to get complicated, not always required. And some teams layer it in to the basics very well.
There's Bolts through the smoke. And he's dead. Up the ladder and down he goes. Is this a winnable round for Luminosity? We could comment on if this round can be replicated, but we're really so late into the game. Is the communication there? You can see one CT by the spools, still repositioning. Lucas not really connecting there, and they can't win a duels at all.
What is going? What? I'm just putting my hands up the entire time because I'm just curious on. No one's working together here. It's a 3-on-3 and there's nothing. Sorry, I'm a little upset. I don't know.
What I would do if I had problems with my T side is I would study ENTZ demos pretty religiously, especially on maps like this and Inferno, just because they nail the basics really well. And if you are able to see a team that outlines the basics super well and doesn't make it too complicated, and doesn't have like super ridiculous stars like simple and electronic, now it's some stuff you can replicate. But speaking of T sides, we've got an aggressive one now from Luminosity. They're looking to try to save themselves. The Kianji's decided, no, absolutely not. We are taking this map. We're going to number 3. Lucas has been annihilated. And there it is, 16-13. INTZ will take pretty much every round in the second half. And Luminosity, honestly, that's not a half of Counter-Strike they can be very proud of.
No, being up that many rounds in the match, especially having a pretty decent CT side, and just completely falling apart on the T side. Like nothing, like I don't know, they did some questionable outside calls. Like they won outside on a set piece, smokes, flashes, whatnot, and then they did it the exact same thing at the exact same time the next round. It's like, are you serious? Like no variation, no difference, no maybe even taking brown halls and then doing it. It's literally the exact same thing. So I don't know.
Well, that's Train. The same old stuff that we've seen for years. Luminosity really bad on the T side. It's always been the case for as long as I can remember, and it continues to be so.
Yeah.
That's
actually true for like 2-3 years.
Yeah, all I'm going to say is that's disappointing. I'm disappointed. I'm going to leave it at that because I think that kind of tells the story there. So it's kind of shocking. It's not so much how few rounds they won. It's kind of like the way they tried to win the rounds was so lacking. It's just like, where is the learning process? Who knows? We're going to go to a break. Maybe during the break we'll find out where that learning process is, and if we'll see something better on Mirage. That's going to be the final map of this best of 3 series. We'll see you back here soon.